Congressman, thank you so much for your time, sir. It's a real pleasure getting a chance to talk with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure to visit with you.
This week, no reason to tell you, the House Oversight Committee taking up the issue of Fast and Furious. We saw a hearing yesterday, another hearing tomorrow. First of all, what did you think of the testimony that we heard on Monday about the importance of complying with a congressional subpoena and what can happen if you don't?
Well, I think it's absolutely critical that we as Congress have the ability to do oversight, and we see again and again in oversight and government reform committee people not wanting to share information, and transparency is absolutely important in government, and certainly sharing information with Congress, who signs the checks for these programs, is critical.
Absolutely. Now, tomorrow we're going to be hearing from Senator Chuck Grassley. I understand we're going to be hearing from former ATF agent John Dodson, the family members of the Border Patrol agent who was killed. It should be an emotional day of testimony.
Well, listen, there's no question about it. And, our government took what was, a reasonable idea, and from everything that we've been able to gather, just botched it beyond belief. The average person will watch the TV shows like CSI and all of these shows, and you'd think we'd have the ability and technology to do what we say we're going to do in these programs. And it sure looks like we just were caught flat-footed, and that's not good.
No, absolutely not. And, it seems like the repercussions, obviously there is the repercussion here in the United States, but, in Mexico now, authorities are scrambling, trying to figure out how many firearms were allowed to cross over the border into Mexico. These guns have started turning up at crime scenes. Again, we understand that one of them may have been used in the death of the Border Patrol agent, Brian Terry.
And why we allowed this to happen without getting ballistics data from these guns so we could determine how they were used just escapes me.
Absolutely. And are you, I've got to ask, are you satisfied? I know the administration says, well, this was a local decision. It was a local operation in Arizona, but we've heard from folks with, let's say, Carter's Country gun stores in the Houston area who say that they were told by ATF officials, oh, no, let that suspicious sale go through, even over their objections.
There are a wide variety of gun dealers, both in Texas and Arizona, that have expressed concerns. And that when a business person is saying, look, we don't really want to be making this sale, that there's a problem. And the fact that the follow-through plan wasn't there, and what this could potentially do to our relationship with Mexico, and obviously the tragic loss of life as a result of this program. They would have gotten, the bad guys would have gotten the guns elsewhere, but we had a unique opportunity to catch some people, and it looks like we blew it.
Yeah. And again, though, do you believe that this could go far beyond the ATF Phoenix operation?
I'm afraid it does, and that's one of the reasons that we need to take a close look at it up here at Congress.
How would you describe the response from the Justice Department and ATF to the House Oversight Committee's request so far?
Well, hopefully it's improving. We'll see how this hearing. We will know 24 hours from now.
Okay. What should we be looking for tomorrow as we are watching this here? And I know there'll be a lot of folks who will be paying close attention to this, but is there anything that the viewers, the people who are just watching passively?
It's going to clearly be some emotional testimony, but you've got to step back from the emotion and ask yourself, is the government even applying common sense to what they're doing? And if not, why not? And how do we fix it so we don't make these mistakes again?
What are your constituents saying about this, Representative?
Well, the district I represent goes from Corpus Christi to Brownsville, Texas, and it includes some of the border in U.S. Highway 77, which is used both ways, bringing narcotics up and taking guns and money back. It's a deep concern of the people in the Rio Grande Valley and in South Texas. One of the things that we are looking at wanting to do in South Texas, we spend a lot of time, money, and effort interdicting the drugs as they they come north. We sure would like to confiscate some of the cash and guns as they're going south. The drugs we've got to burn. The money we can keep.
There you go. And one final question for you. It almost seems to me that this week, while the Fast and Furious hearings are underway, there are attempts to downplay and perhaps minimize and get this story away from the newspaper pages, the television reports. We saw this report, for instance, released yesterday by Senators Feinstein and Senator Schumer and Senator Whitehouse. Again, talking about the percentage of firearms recovered in Mexico traced back to the United States. And once again, very misleading. They're saying 70% of the guns recovered in Mexico were traced back to the United States. That's absolutely false. It's 70% of the firearms that were recovered and submitted for tracing. But the actual number of firearms recovered is far greater than the number that were submitted for tracing. Is there an effort, Representative, you think, to try to downplay, certainly not from the House Oversight Committee, but efforts by, let's say, either administration officials or supporters of the administration to downplay the significance of the Fast and Furious scandal?
You think? That's kind of a duh to me. If you've been caught, I think, in a horribly botched operation, you would be kind of hanging your head low and shading your face with your hands as you were walking. I wouldn't go so far as to say there's a cover-up, but I certainly think there's some people trying to do the dodge.
Yeah. Well, listen, Representative, I can't thank you enough for coming on the program tonight. We will be watching with great interest tomorrow and look forward to talking to you again very soon.
My pleasure. Good talking to you.
Thank you, sir. Representative Blake Farenthold joining us from the great state of Texas here on Cam & Company.